To me, marketing's about values. This is a very complicated world. It's a very noisy world. And we're not going to get a chance to get people to remember much about us. No company is. And so we have to be really clear on what we want them to know about us.
Now, whether you like him or
Now,
not,
Apple-
that's irrelevant. You have to agree that the man's got a point. And for the uninitiated, this was Steve Jobs' speech after his return to Apple in 1997 after getting fired. And arguably, this has been considered as the best sales and marketing speech ever. Now, this was a time when social media wasn't a thing. The world was a less noisier place and marketing was a tad bit more easier. But now, it's 2020. It's a lot more noisier world. Everybody's online. All businesses are online. And just when you thought you couldn't leave your phone alone,
Coronavirus!
irrespective of whatever industry you work in, I believe that every one of us is a marketer by nature. And so this video is divided into two parts. Part A, if you're a marketer, why you should be creating content. And part B, if you're not a marketer, why you should be creating content. Now, if you're a marketer, let's start with a simple question. Why do you get paid? What does a marketer do? From a consumer's perspective, you'd expect a marketer to give you what you want to see in a product. Be it ideating campaigns, ideating creatives, optimizing social media websites, optimizing social media pages, just basically anything that you would feel good about a product. Now, since a marketer gets paid to make you feel good, one skill becomes inevitably a necessity, and that is the skill of judgment. While ideating a campaign, deciding what would work and what would not work would require judgment. While making a creative, capturing the raw essence of a concept in a way that would bring forth shares and story repost would require judgment. Designing or optimizing a website, predicting user behavior, placing the right call to actions on the website would require judgment. Meeting someone, going out with them, hearing what they have to say, picking up their signals, that would require Actually, no, don't do that. Don't judge people. It's just not a nice thing to do. But anyway, better judgment comes when you put yourself in a real world scenario, in a place where you can directly access the market you're in. And I include the word directly here on purpose. So whether you're an in-house marketer or you're from the agency background, the chances are that your idea that you give, the campaign ideas or the creative ideas you give, is going to be taken, is going to be twisted, it's going to be lost in translation, and what ends up as the final product is probably not the iteration or the end result that you want to see. Now, why that happens is understandable and requires a special video of its own. But in such a situation where your ideas are most often turned and twisted into something else, don't you require a creative outlet on your own where you can directly access the market as a marketer? But when you actually put out content, be it video, audio, texts, written blog posts, photos on Instagram, whatever it is, you are inadvertently in touch with the market, no matter how small it may seem. And that is magical. Because you're directly in touch with the market, you get a sense of what people actually like. You can directly track the results. There's so much analytical tools out there that will give you the data. And over a period of time, number one, your judgment of the market gets better. And number two, you can extrapolate the data from the posts that you put out and somehow finesse it or transfer it to your marketing job. And that would just support your cause better since you've already tested the waters. Kunal Shah, the founder of Cred and one of the finest entrepreneurs India has ever seen, advocates for this idea.
Kunal Shah puts this really well. His whole company is filled with engineers, product guys, marketing guys, all of whom are part-time creators. Some poets, comedians, they're in a band.
Yeah.
That's why the product is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Because anything bad, you can't. The creators in the room won't lie. They won't say this is great because they just know when something is great.
Yeah.
So I think if you're a brand and if you're not filling your marketing team with creators, you should fill them with creators.
And now comes the part where I think most of you all will resonate with, the part where why you should put out content if you're not a marketer. Now, if you think about it, everybody is a marketer by nature. If the number of businesses that are running without any office, with just a social media presence, and the number of pages that are started, especially since COVID, the numbers are just crazy, right? But keeping all the business matters aside, I want to talk on a more personal note, on a more humane level, on why I think you should put out content and how it could possibly help you face your fears. In an increasingly populated world where perfection is a core metric on social media, content that questions the norms of social media will always have my respect, and it should always have your respect too. Content that doesn't necessarily put you in the limelight but keeps you on the backseat. It could be anything. It could be you making a joke on yourself, you practicing self-deprecation, you sharing a vulnerable story about yourself where you didn't necessarily come out on top, but a story about how your failure could help, relate, and inspire other people. Now, I understand the practical difficulties of doing this, which is why I have a solution that I am actually following. If you're actually scared and you're prone to judgment on your main profile, just create a private account and just have your closest friend who won't judge you. Now, I'm not saying don't go fancy by all means. But just like how life has its highs and lows, fancy and draws, funny and serious moments, why can't your feed eclipse the same? You might lose a few likes, you might lose a few followers, but who the hell cares? Someone might relate to your story, someone might relate to your vulnerability. You might brighten someone's day by making a joke on yourself, and while your post might not be the sexiest of all, it definitely will be the most memorable. I've actually implemented this idea, and after striving for perfection for so long, I just said screw it and I posted this. The post, even though it was a joke at my expense, it actually became a talking point at my then workplace, at my gym, and a couple of people actually appreciated me for going ahead and posting it. And I'm very happy to say that after practicing this over a period of time, after practicing self-deprecation, after sharing stories where I didn't necessarily come out as the hero, I've developed a way more thicker skin. I don't get offended very easily like I used to before, and I've somewhat developed an ability to laugh at myself, especially when I get owned. Before I close out this video, I have a call to action to make. Post a video, photo, a written post, a written caption, WhatsApp status, Instagram status, a written blog post, anything of a situation where you didn't necessarily come out on top. You could have been on the losing side of a joke. You can share a vulnerable story about yourself. You can share a situation where you got owned with the hashtag balance it out. Because hey, balance is all we should be craving for.